The abortion situation is a very, very significant one of the most significant things happening on the American scene today. Here, the enemy knows us better than we know ourselves, because the first great victory of Christianity was in this area. When Christianity moved out into the Roman Empire, abortion and child abandonment were no crimes. So, that is, no crime or no sins. The state could say, if there was a drop in the birth rate, it is illegal to have an abortion. Or the state had the right to require an abortion. In Plato's Republic, Plato goes so far as to say that any unlicensed birth should be aborted and the parents severely punished. This sort of thing is again being proposed. The only right in the situation was that of the state and sometimes of the husband, but basically of the state. It was not a sin. It could be legal or illegal depending upon the will of the state. And the same was true of children. If you couldn't abort the child, you took and abandoned it. You took it along the river and threw it there. And this was routine. Now, the thing the Christians did immediately was to begin to pick up these children. And many of them came from the best families. After all, the welfare families weren't interested in getting rid of their babies. They were making a good living then, as they are now, out of welfare. And they reared these children as Christians. One reason why they did it was because, of course, these children were also picked up by people who would rear them to be male and female prostitutes. So it was an urgent matter with these Christians who often severely taxed their resources to get out there continually and pick up these children before these scavengers got to them. And then second, to make a stand against abortion as murder. And this was one of the earliest and most eloquent testimonies against the Roman Empire. Life is a gift of God, and no man can take life, anyone else's or his life, apart from the will of God. And how do we know the will of God? God says only He can take life. And God provides that life can be taken according to His will through the state for specified crimes, for murder, for kidnapping, for rape, for several other things. When the state takes life for these purposes, it is not the state but God. And if the state doesn't take the life, then we're not doing it now. We killed one and we're not killing the rest there in San Quentin. Then the state is under judgment of God. The punishment that you withhold from someone else falls on you. Now, abortion, therefore, was the first great victory of the Christian church. They hammered away at this. And they finally began to get this point through even to people who are unbelievers, that this was a thoroughly contemptible thing, that even an unbeliever should be ashamed of. They made it a fixed law in all of Christendom as soon as Christians came into power. No abortion. Now, what this means, of course, is that the Christian principle that life cannot be taken apart from the Word of God is being overthrown. And the most fearful thing in this is not that the state is trying to do it. Because we know the state today, every state, is basically non-Christian or anti-Christian. But that the church is not as vocal as it should be. If this had been tried 40 years ago, every Protestant in the Catholic Assemblyman would be told, don't you set foot in this church if you vote for such a bill. And nothing like that is being said today. There is no statement of absolute excommunication if they favor such a bill. And this bill is just opening the door to make the state again the absolute Lord of life. And if the state can say that an unborn child can be killed by its permission, it can say that anyone can be killed according to its wishes. Yes.
But we are covering the real issue when they're getting it too hastily. At least in our church this morning, they're giving a series of lectures on it, and they said that through getting fast legislation, getting it through as fast as possible, getting it onto the floor real quickly, and emotionalizing mostly. They are covering the main issue of is or isn't it life.
Yes.
And this they don't want to.
The issue is being disguised in the debate. It's called therapeutic, and all kinds of names are given to it to hide it. The basic thing is to give the state control. One of the first things the Soviet Union did was to make abortion possible, to open the country wide open to abortion. And then, of course, when they had lowered the birth rate too dangerously, then they dropped it entirely and made it very difficult to get, because now they wanted men for the factories and for the army. In other words, life and death are completely a matter of state will. And this is the purpose in all of this.